Hi, Larry Horist here with So There It Is. I tend to come up with a subject a lot about the media, and it's because I think it's critically important. I do worry that our media, which I think has become quite corrupted, really will tilt a lot of thinking because they're engaging in a lot of propaganda. And I define propaganda as when you pick a viewpoint, select your facts, and then tell things that aren't even true. And so I see this more and more. I've watched media over a lot of years, and yeah, media's had a little bit of a left lean in the past. It didn't scare me. It bothered me, but it didn't scare me. Now the media sort of scares me because certain elements of the media, particularly on the television media, if you look at CNN and MSNBC, they have essentially become infomercials for the left wing of the Democratic Party. Now, why is that? Well, every survey of the media tells you why it is, because all those personalities you see are left-wing Democrats. And their philosophy has now become part of their reporting culture. And the other thing is, have you noticed, we're more than a year away from a presidential election. Have you seen how intensively and how crazed they are over this election in one direction? Donald Trump, his election, his existence, his idiosyncrasies, his personality, his policies have driven them bonkers. They have absolutely gone off the wall with the craziest stuff in the world. And yeah, Donald Trump is controversial. I'm not a great fan of the way he says things and what he says at times. I think he's got kind of a pugnacious personality. But you know what? I don't think he's an agent of Russia. I mean, all this exaggerated, hyperbolic statements to try to drive home. I actually don't think he's actually a racist. But I think what happens is they want the infomercial out there, the narrative. I was sort of bothered when CNN handled the debate because it was a very expensively staged infomercial from beginning to end. Now, first of all, you have the panelists who are all anti-Trump. Well, that's not fair. You got to have somebody, because there is another side to the story, a very legitimate and very important other side. It's not being represented. Then they take the lead-in to the debate and literally turn it over to the leaders of the Democratic Party to give campaign speeches. So you get Tom Perez up there, and this is what we Democrats, and he lied through his teeth about a lot of things. I mean, he takes credit for the women's vote. Check your history. All those suffragettes were Republicans. The Democrats were fighting against the women's vote. He takes what they did in civil rights. Go check the votes in the Congress in 1964. It was the Republicans who passed the 1964 Civil Rights, the Republicans who passed the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And he says it was the Democrats. The great propaganda lie is out there in an infomercial sponsored by CNN. Then when they create a narrative, let's have a debate. Is Trump a racist? Did he say racist things? Let's talk about both sides of that argument. But no, once they get a narrative, they present it as fact. That's propaganda. For example, Don Lemon gets on. He talks about, well, now let's deal with these racist tweets and racist comments, and just presuming that's factual. That's accurate. Now, as a moderator, he completely did what he shouldn't have done. He completely bought into the Democratic narrative, and he is presenting it as fact. So I get sort of really concerned that this is going to have implications. I saw Fox News and I saw CNN, MSNBC all covering Trump's rally in Ohio. Now, I watched the whole speech. The snippets that were brought out were not reflective of the speech. They were quite the opposite. CNN, MSNBC patterned together a few things to make Trump look bad. Fox took out a few things that make Trump look better. But what was left out was all of the things he talked about in terms of accomplishments, programs, and all the things these hypocrites in the media say. We want to talk about issues. We want to talk about the facts. The Democratic candidates, let's not just talk about Trump. Let's talk about the facts. And you know what? They're full of baloney. They don't want to talk about the issues. They don't want to talk about the deal he made with Guatemala that they said he wouldn't make. They don't want to talk about his executive order on prescription drugs. They don't want to talk about any of that stuff. And if you watch MSNBC, you don't even know what I'm talking about. You have no idea what this president, this administration has done in the last week or so. And that's why I talk about the media a lot, maybe because this one voice can get out there and actually get people to say, hey, let's go shop around. Let's go around the media and get different media. Because it's those people. You know, you look at it, and Dana Bash on CNN, her husband is Jeremy Bash, who's a CNN contributor who's always on one of those panels. She's supposed to be a reporter, I guess, and he's now a panelist. And they're both liberal Democrats. Chris Cuomo, he is the son of Mario Cuomo, the former governor of New York, and the brother of Andrew Cuomo, the current governor of New York. And how many press secretaries? Remember, these are communicators. These are people spewing the propaganda for their candidates. Who's on there? Remember Jay Carey? He was on for a while on CNN. I don't even know what happened to him, but he got replaced more by people like Joe Lockhart. Joe Lockhart's on there all the time. He's Clinton's old propagandist, if you will. And that's who you see on television. It is getting so bad that I really worry that they're going to tilt the republic, that they're really going to end this possibility of a dialogue in America, of two sides of an argument. And I think we, the people, should turn off our televisions to the propagandists until they start becoming journalists again, reporters, and being honest and know what the standards of journalism really are. So, there it is.